Living skinny in fat genes,
Yes.
because we always hear of the fat skinny, which just means that you're fortunate enough to be one of those people who's skinny but eats Cheetos all day.
Right.
So we really need to...
You mentioned Cheetos, that's like my binge food. My kids know that.
But we really need to like focus on healing ourselves from the inside out. So
Right.
let's talk about some of these summer food items that can get us.
So, you know, summertime, everybody loves ice cream. It's great if you don't have a lactose intolerance. So, you know, people have a lot of food issues. So one of the things that people have a problem with is they don't have the lactase enzyme in their body in order to help break down lactose. So good news for folks like that is that you can take a tablet. It's basically the enzyme lactase, right? So you could see that. Yeah, so you take that before you eat and it helps you to digest milk. And so the other thing you can consider doing is having like a frozen fruit pop, making your own, freezing bananas. I brought this immersion blender. I like to make a lot of smoothies over the summer and puree a lot of things like melon.
So that's a great way to get the ice cream feel for for the kids too. I mean, they love stuff like that. They don't have to know.
That's right. And now we're not going to talk about kid stuff. We're going to talk about adult stuff. We're going to talk about wine. Right. Wine and cheese, very popular in the summer. So here's the thing. Some people have a histamine intolerance. What that means is that when they have foods that are high in histamine, they lack the enzyme called diamine oxidase. DAO is the abbreviation for it. And what happens is when they have things like wine, so for example, red wine has like 200 times the histamine of white wine. So what happens is they get flushed, they break out, they get hives, they have headaches. So what they can do now is, good news is there's this product called Umbrellux DAO, which is the enzyme of diamine oxidase. You take that 15 minutes before you have wine or cheese or other foods that are very high in histamine. And what happens is it helps you to digest, you know, the histamine without it being a problem. And the other thing you could do is drink some black tea beforehand, but like black tea before wine, I don't know. Yeah. I want to have that, right?
And we're talking about this really because during the summer months is when we see those food allergies, food sensitivities come to light because of some of these popular foods. And citrus, one of the biggest offenders.
Right, so citrus is a big offender in that people have oral allergies. So, you know, we think about, people get lemon water. What do you put in your guacamole to keep it from turning brown?
Right,
lime juice, lemon juice. So again, citrus is used a lot. It is wonderful because it's loaded with vitamin C, but what I suggest people do is substitute out other fruits to have. So, for example, with fruited waters, you can just take things like melon and you can put that in your water if you want. And just swap out, you know, if you have an allergy or you have an intolerance, you know, well, allergy specifically, you just want to avoid eating it, right?
Yeah,
and intolerance, there's some other things you
cucumber
can take.
water, watermelon in your water.
Mint,
makes it
right.
so
Cucumber,
fresh and light for the summer months.
Absolutely, and it gets people to drink more water because that's what people often have a hard time with, is drinking clean water. And then another thing that's very popular, hot dogs, which is not exactly the most nutritious food. I mean, there are other versions of hot dogs, so you can get like a chicken or a turkey hot dog, but you know, at the end of the day, it's, you know, some kind of funky meat in a casing. So not the healthiest thing, although I do think it's a conduit for, you know, a way to get sauerkraut in, which is actually good because it's loaded with probiotics.
It's a natural probiotic,
That's right. That's right. So instead, you can do something like make a fish taco, make kebabs, find other foods to have. I mean, you can have hot dogs once in a while. Don't get me wrong. I don't like to demonize any one food or food group, but I wouldn't eat them all the time. You know, there's some research looking into, you know, the effects of having too many hot dogs. I mean, parents think they're easy. I mean, they come pre-cooked, so it's pretty hard to mess that up. But if you overburn it on a barbecue and you char it, that black part, my mom loves, like a burnt hot dog.
Yeah,
all that charring,
no-no.
right? Because it can cause cancer. So that's the reason why we don't want to have that.
And we know that. So okay, these are really great for us as adults, especially going to all of the summer pool parties, barbecues, and everything. But really great ideas for the kids too, because the kids. Well, basically, if you make it fun and you make it colorful, they'll tend to try it.
They will, and include them in the process, too. I mean, that's one thing with the kids. I find if you include them in the process, I mean, this I bought at a store, but I'm the mom who sits with the big watermelon, and I will ball the whole melon. I will ball, like, melons completely and make sure that it looks pretty. I like everything. I mean, and my kids are grown, but I still like to. And we're all big kids, right?
Mine's not grown enough, but I realized if I make it fun, he'll jump in as a 2-year-old and try something new.
And most importantly, lead by example.
Yeah,
you know, you can't tell your kids to eat good foods if you're not eating them yourself.
I'm a sucker for a wine and cheese plate, though, I got to tell you. So,
that's okay.
But this is motivation and reminders that there are healthier options for us, and really important to remember that in the summer when we tend to binge a little. All right. Thank you so much, Felicia Stoler.
Pleasure. Thank you.
So appreciate your tips and motivation this morning.